DNA is a double helix that stays in the nucleus at all times. Each cell in our body has the exact same amount of DNA. Fun fact, we have 37 trillion cells in our body. That's a lot of DNA. So whether it's a skin cell or a heart cell, it has the same DNA. However, what makes it different is which genes are switched on when it comes to protein synthesis. This is something the DNA cannot do. So what it does is produce mRNA, which is a replica of the gene from the DNA. To do this, the DNA strands unwinds and separates, and nucleotides come in from mRNA. In DNA, there is thymine, and in mRNA, the thymine is replaced by uracil. Once the process is complete, the DNA comes back together and the mRNA is then able to leave the nucleus. Like DNA, mRNA is made up of nucleotides. However, it is structurally different to DNA in three main ways. It is single-stranded instead of double-stranded. It contains the sugar ribose instead of deoxyribose, and it contains the base unit uracil instead of thymine, which we covered in DNA. To initiate protein synthesis, a piece of mRNA is translated from the appropriate gene. It then leaves the nucleus through the nuclear pores and attaches to a ribosome in the cytoplasm, where translation and production of the new protein takes place. The key to translating a genetic message into a specific amino acid sequence is the fact that each tRNA molecule enables translation of a given mRNA codon onto a certain amino acid, and as there is 20 amino acids, there are 20 tRNAs. This is possible because a tRNA bears a special amino acid at one end of a three-dimensional structure, while at the other end is a nuclear triplet that can base pair with the complementary codon on an mRNA. A tRNA molecule consists of a single RNA strand that is only about 80 nucleotides long, compared to hundreds of nucleotides for most mRNA molecules. The presence of complementary stretches of nucleotide bases that can hydrogen bond to each other allows this single strand to fold back on itself and form a molecule with a particular 3D structure. Ribosomes, the big boy that holds it all together. Without ribosomes, protein synthesis just could not happen. It plays a key role. mRNA will attach to a ribosome. Once attached, the ribosome will read the mRNA in a set of 3. These are called codons. For the ribosome to start reading the mRNA, it needs a start codon, which is always AUG, and the tRNA will bring along the amino acid for that. The ribosome will continue to read the codons on mRNA until it reaches the end. It will know this by the stop codon, which can be one of 3 codons, which are UAA, UAG, and UGA. The ribosomes also help with the way the protein folds. Even though ribosomes are so tiny that they're not actually classed as organelles, they play a massive role in protein synthesis. Now, as we're all aware, things cannot go wrong. Point mutations can happen anytime protein synthesis happens. However, most of the time these go unnoticed due to them being so small and insignificant. However, sometimes that is not the case, and a change in one or a few base pairs can cause major problems for the individual involved. Take sickle cell anemia, for example. A substitute of one base pair with another changes the way the blood cell formed, which leaves the individual with sickle-shaped blood cells instead of round, which means they cannot carry oxygen around the body properly. It can also cause clots and blocked vessels. However, in some countries, that's actually a good thing because mosquitoes do not like sickle cell. Therefore, carriers of sickle cell do not get bit by mosquitoes. Therefore, they cannot contract malaria. Cystic fibrosis is a problem with an allele. The normal allele for this gene codes for a membrane protein that functions in the transport of chloride ions between certain cells and the extracellular fluid. These chloride transport channels are defective or absent in the plasma membranes of children who inherit two recessive alleles for cystic fibrosis. The result is an abnormally high concentration of intercellular chloride, which causes an uptake of water due to osmosis. This in turn causes the mucus that coats certain cells to become thicker and stickier than normal and to build up in the pancreas, lungs, digestive tract, and other organs. Multiple effects result, including poor absorption of nutrition from the intestines, chronic bronchitis, and recurrent bacterial infections. Untreated, cystic fibrosis can cause death by the age of 5. The inheritance of gender. Gender is inherited from the father due to the fact the mother has two X chromosomes and the father has an XY. So, for a male to be born, the father has to pass down the Y chromosome through his gametite, and the mother passes down her X. For a girl to be born, the father will pass down his X, and the mother will pass down her X. Therefore, the father chooses the gender of the child. Sex-linked conditions, or also known as X-linked conditions, can cause problems, mainly in males, due to the fact that the X chromosome is a lot bigger than the Y chromosome. Take haemophilia, for example. Haemophilia is a condition in which the blood does not clot normally. Haemophilia often results in excessive bleeding both internally and externally. The condition is due to the lack of one or more clotting factors, which play an important role in the complex chain reaction of blood clotting. Because the haemophilia is on the X-linked chromosome and not on the Y, it's more prevalent that a male will get it. The female will be the carrier. So for a woman to get it, it's extremely rare because the chances are she will carry the gene, but she will not show symptoms of haemophilia, whereas the male will show symptoms as there is no backup gene to cover it. Chromosome abnormalities happen when chromosomes separate wrong. So we're going to discuss Down syndrome. Down syndrome is to do with chromosome 21, and it's called trisomy 21, and it's because we end up with 3 chromosomes on the 21. It can cause severe to mild learning disabilities, flat facial features. It can cause cardiovascular problems. It can cause hearing. People with Down syndrome can have a shorter stature. They have a lower life expectancy. There's a hell of a lot more out there for chromosome abnormalities. Turner syndrome's one of them. But I think that's pretty much the end of our video. I do apologise, I don't sound very good. And hope to speak again soon. Goodbye.